Okay, for today's live lesson, I'm going to walk you through how to do question number 2 in lesson 13. And the reason why I'm choosing question 2 is because it asks you to use the elimination method. Question 1 asks you to use the substitution method, and I've already done a live lesson on substitution, so hopefully you will kind of have an idea how to do that one. And also, if I walk you through how to do number 2, it'll hopefully get you set up in knowing how to establish the equations for number 1 if you're struggling with that. Okay, so we have question 2 here. It talks about Kathy and her friend Brenda going to the mall, and they're buying some blouses and jeans. And each of them spend different amounts of money. So they have a total bill. One of them has a total bill of $57, and one of them has a total bill of $81, and they buy some combination of blouses and jeans. Now, for this question, it's assuming that all blouses are the same price and all pairs of jeans are the same price. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is writing 2 equations. One of those equations is going to be for Kathy, and one of those equations is going to be for Brenda. Okay, and each of those equations is going to have 2 different variables in it. So the first thing I need to do is establish what those variables are. So I'm going to let x be the price of a blouse, and I'm going to let y be the price of jeans. And I'm going to make 2 equations. So the first equation is for Kathy, so it says she spends $57 and she buys 3 blouses and 2 pairs of jeans. So I'm going to say 3 times x plus 2 times y. Okay, so that represents what Kathy buys. And the second equation is for Brenda. So Brenda spends $81 and she buys 4 blouses, so 4 times x, and 3 pairs of jeans, so 3 times y. Okay, so that is how I set up the 2 equations. Now, it asks you to use elimination to solve these equations. So I'm just going to stop here for a second, and I'm going to clear the screen, and then I'm going to set up these equations with elimination. Okay, so here's my 2 equations that I set up in the previous step, and the question asks us to use elimination to solve the system, which basically means we're going to use elimination to solve to figure out what x and y are equal to. And elimination means we're going to subtract the variables in the equation so that we only have one variable left. Okay, so when I look at these 2 equations, if I was to subtract them right now, I wouldn't get rid of either of the variables. So I need to do something to at least one of the equations to make it so that if I was to subtract them, it would eliminate one of the variables. And looking at these 2 equations, there's nothing that I can multiply either of these coefficients by to make something that's going to subtract. So what I need to do is multiply both equations by the same amount. And I could do it with either of the 2 terms, the x term or the y term, but I'm going to use the y terms because those numbers are a little bit smaller and I think it'll be a little bit easier. So I'm going to multiply each of the 3 terms in the first equation by the same number. If I do that, the equation is still going to be the same equivalent. It's just going to be a little bit bigger numbers. So if I multiply each term in that first question by 3, so 57 times 3 is 171. 3 times 3 is 9. And 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so equation 3 is the same as equation 1. They are the same thing, okay? And now I'm going to multiply each of the 3 terms in equation number 2 by 2. So 81 times 2 is 162. 4 times 2 is 8. And 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so you see my goal here. So equation 4 is the same as equation 2. So my goal here, what I've done is I've created a term in each of the 2 equations that is the same. Okay, so I have 6y in both of the 2 equations. What that allows me to do is subtract to get rid of that y variable. So 6y minus 6y, oh, that's 0y. So I've gotten rid of y's. 9 minus 8 is 1, which is x. And 171 minus 162 is 9. So that tells me that 9 is equal to x. Okay, so then all I need to do is take that value for x and then sub it into either of the other 2 equations to solve for y. That's all there is to it.